really stepping up to the mark with it plus 11 KD so far.
All right, let's see which map we're going to be playing on. Our lobby is pretty much ready, and we're approaching midnight here in the game. It's 2 minutes to midnight, as they would say. Coastline is our setter. FAV Gaming, remove Clubhouse for it. I hear Jess in the back giving us a yes. There's something that makes sense.
Was that
Hap,
Jess?
can you, I believe so. Hap, does it make sense from your point of view?
I mean, we're going to a bit of a frag-heavy map, and we know Fav really likes to, likes to run around, especially Chloroform Afro and number 2. Those three are a incredible fragging duo, all rocking an above 1.3 rating so far. So, I mean, I think it's a good choice not bringing Giants, which is, of course, an established international team, to a technical map. So, they might have a good choice here.
Book, final thoughts?
Give me Littero. Give me Coastline, give me full frags, give me all the demolition and destruction this map offers. I'm kind of still on a bit of a high of the chaos of the game before, and I want that to carry all the way through onto what is the most magically aggressive map we have in our 7 map pool.
I hope so too. Let's toss it over to our casters, and hopefully there won't be any rehosts or drops in this game. Giants.
You jinxed
Why would
it.
you say that?
Why do you do this?
Giants versus
We're just
FAV Gaming.
speedrunning this.
Please toss it over to our casters. Yes, Des, all yours.
Why would you do this, Milosh? I don't understand why you have to do this. But he did it, Jess, and we did it. We got into Coastline, a really big game between two big teams. The only undefeated team still here in APAC North. FAV, I think the surprising entry into this fixture, saying that they are the team that are presently unbeaten. They have breezed their way through, as of Giants. I mean, admittedly, a couple of games along the way gave them a scare, but they sit here at 3-0. There can be only one team left after today that is undefeated, and it will be one of these two. Let's get into it. What an absolute clash of titans this is going to be.
I'm actually really excited it's gone to Coastline, because last time we saw Giants jump onto this map, they lost to a really crazy and erratic Xavier. Today, they get to redeem themselves. Are they as good on Coastline as they are on other very technical maps? We've got to see it here from Giants. The bans might also reflect some of those areas that maybe have been a little bit of a worry area on Coastline for Giants. But when you go up against Xavier, maybe it's not a good comparison either. They played, like I said, really erratically. Here, you'll probably see a little bit more of a structured FAV.
Well, I'm hoping so. And I mean, you say structured. The one thing I'm looking at already from the first ban that's come out in the Nomad, I'm just thinking, I'm just saying, just suggesting an idea. There might be a lot of doorways and windows open early on in the round. That's all I'm saying, Jess. We'll see if they end up capitalizing on that. Given they start on the defense, we'll find out pretty much straight away if that is part of their plan. Capitao coming through as a second, removing those excellent execution tools in the smoke bolts and, of course, the fire bolts too.
It's actually funny because I said that Giants lost to Xavier on this map. Guess who else lost to Xavier on this map? FAV. So
I do wonder.
They've both lost to the same team on this map. Therefore, we could just hypothesize very quickly that maybe both of these teams really struggle with that aggression when they're on their attack. They've got really aggressive defensive opponents. Maybe that's something that these teams could employ. I don't know if that will work for them as well. Pulse ban coming out, very apt for a map like Coastline. And a mute ban, which actually we see a lot on Coastline recently. And I think it's come out of the fact that droning on Coastline has been key. You can lock people out very quickly, especially if you find them downstairs when it's a top floor site, and you can dispose of them very quickly. So having 1 or 2 mute jammers on very tiny hallways that we've got around all of the map, especially on the bottom floor, that helps it and quite a bit, I think.
And just to give some context, because we sit here and say we're really excited about Coastline, that as a map, it's always scrappy. We literally aren't kidding. This is the most attacker-leaning map in all of APAC with a 32% overall defensive win rate. That tells you just how insane this map can get. Xavier. This might turn out to be, this may turn out to be a 4-2 at the half as well. Time will tell. It is absolutely a demolition derby coming out of them, but this was back in stage 1 with the stats that I'm looking at here, bear in mind. 9 games overall played on it, massively attacker leaning. I'm hoping these two teams can show off here. FAV especially are a team that had a very good attacking win rate last season. I believe only second to Cloud9. So for them, this should be their bread and butter once it changes halves. But first, they need to endure Giants' onslaught.
I really enjoy teams who use that shield there to be able to watch the hookah door. It's an area where it's quite hard to watch. You can't really sit behind the B-bomb chassis without being harassed from the hookah window. You can sit behind a shield, however, but you risk it being destroyed. There's 2 ADSs to accompany it, one on the hookah bed there on the couch, and one right behind Vase, which can't be shot from the roof either, which is a common angle. So that's really good there. They're protecting the shield every single way they can. Someone will sit behind that. The problem will have to be is that whoever sits behind it has to play passive. They can't be an overly aggressive player. You'll lose a really key spot too quickly.
Same with Type on the roam with the Vigil too, so although they're going for these shield setups that you were mentioning just a second ago, you are looking to these aggressive style of plays coming out, but Jordan's going to strike first, and Typon's got ants in his pants. He's like, man, he can't start fragging. I need to get on the board before him. But it looks like he'll find nothing, as no one, at least initially, is looking to push up to this side of the map. And that was a very early opening kill, mind you. Both Afro and Typon looking towards doors and windows here, and unfortunately, losing out in the opening duel.
Maybe Giants have learned from their last time here on Coastline, their only time here on Coastline for APAC North, that they've got to deal with this aggression. And sometimes I've said, if you have aggression going up against you, take those extra 10 to 15 seconds, hold an angle, and surely someone will run into it. Typon almost ran into that angle there, gifting a kill to Speakeasy on the Zofia. Surely he caps this off, but guess what? Leans the wrong way, and that's a free kill for Typon.
A couple of members have been committed here on the side of Giants. They have one hanging down on the penthouse window. It looks like he's now gone back up to the roof to try and getting an alternative way. Sarah assuming that maybe we'd see Typon step through the Hall of Fame in towards penthouse, but no, he has got right under the hatch here. Out comes the drone, and in the right sort of time and the right sort of play, steps away from that same spot. Last thing you want to do is sit in the same spot, because they can just pre-fire where you were and you may well lose your life. But think of the amount of time being wasted here. Oh my word, didn't consider. In fact, I think he was considering. Hysterics was on the rappel, but just looked the wrong way, unfortunately, and got himself tagged out. 90 seconds wasted, not a bad start, but still 2 men down for FAV here, and Giants with a pretty big opportunity with 80 seconds left in a 4 versus 3 to take this round.
I believe they also have someone below. It was hard to see the outline of it, but maybe not. And as a result, yeah, they do. They've got Jordan below. There you go. He was dispatching of any of the electronics from underneath, and he's been quite safe by himself below. I think the problem with Giants is that they've been sending one after the other sort of solo. We saw Fnatic try this, mere games ago. Not the play, especially when you're going up against a team like FAV, who've been on the rise this season so far.
At least here Shin's finding himself in some trouble too. Not the first in this round. It's been a couple of members on the side of FAV, as we've now seen, that have got themselves into hot water and not walked out alive. They've been boiled alive. Shin down to about half HP, not the worst, and now trying to infiltrate these walls. For the longest time, keeping these walls closed was pretty much an assumed thing. You would ban away a Hibana. Some teams wouldn't even bother bringing the Hibana to get those walls open. You could sit very happily behind the bar. But with the addition of Ace, and given how he's so useful for executes with the smokes, as well as having the Selmas, it always makes total sense to bring him. Giants with a little closing flurry of kills coming out there. I think once they caught themselves that third member, it was like, hey, it's a 4v2. They really can't hold us back. And some nice long-range shots from Ysera there. I say long-range, more just inside the room he was right in front of. Pretty decisive from Giants. I appreciate what FAV were trying to do. I appreciate they were trying to get up against windows and doors to catch members of Giants as they approach the building. But Giants know FAV. They know their style of play. They've done their research here, and they know what to expect.
It could have got really sour there for Giants. Like I said before, you can't really be sending one member in. I mean, I believe they had the sledge on the roof who'd opened the bathroom hatch there, and they also had Speakeasy out on the balcony of VIP. What probably should have been done was a drone spread out from someone around the team, even if it was one of them, had both of them push in together to make sure there was a refrag opportunity. And that's why I think Speakeasy went down without a trade. I mean, someone was too far away. And it wasn't until the Jackal had rotated and made sure that there was that double window presence that they were able to get Typon on the Vigil. This round, however, they've decided to go blue bar. And I mean, I wouldn't say it's confusing to see them go here, considering Kitchen and Blue Bar, a lot of teams like both of them equally, and they'll actually stretch their hold out that they've got a mirror on side to do a Kitchen hold this way. So that's a smart way of looking at it, is to go, okay, we'll place a mirror inside Kitchen, no one can come into service entrance or Kitchen without having to put up a big old fight, which is a key power angle, and they might put another mirror over towards looking into Blue Bar, over towards the office wall, and I believe that's what Afro's setting up now.
It makes sense. We've seen a couple of teams manage to snake their way inside of the site here behind the bar and get a plant down, so at least having a mirror's watchful eyes on at all time is key. It does bring that challenge of what's going to happen upstairs. Are we going to see members of Giants taking control of that and opening the mirror window from above? If so, the challenge is going to be for FAV. As you can see coming out of the Malusi right now, it's holding upstairs. It looks like a couple of those Banshees have been committed up here. And you've got Typon, once again, as well as Shin, looking to cause some trouble on the upstairs. So they have gone for this upstairs presence with the mirror playing on site, just trying to make sure there's no cheesy plays that come in too early.
This is such an aggressive angle. I don't discount that it can work and it can take the opponent off guard. But there's only so many times you can be hyper aggressive and expect it to work out. Now he's going to be stuck in there. And when I say stuck in there, actually no, because they've got rid of that double window presence. No rotate lock means Typon can rotate out. That's a grave mistake here from Giants. They did this last time as well. They didn't rotate someone to big window before it was kind of too late. One member had already gone down. Now they're waiting for more drones. This time Hysteric says, I'll rotate cut from the white window, which is fair enough, but they need to make this clearer a little bit quicker.
I wanted to touch on that. They killed 5 drones inside 45 seconds at the start of this round. So trying to get inside the building they've been done with, as have the site players for FAV though. Look at the smoke down to almost nothing, and the Jackal is down too. Hysteric's going to collect Typon as one of the roamers has fallen. Now Shin, and I imagine Chloroform want to get themselves back towards site. You can still see Chloroform out towards service entrance, trying to play for those long angles. We'll be able to retrieve Afro, but my god, these site players being on almost no HP, they cannot set a single step wrong. It's got to be first shot headshots every single time, else they'll be down in the dumps pretty fast.
About a minute 15 left here, and this is probably boding pretty well for the attackers, considering I see one smoke bay being deployed, and whether or not they've used another is yet to be told. There we go. Extended view will give me the opportunity to see, yes, they have already used one, so number 2 is down to 1. Given he's also down to almost 1 HP, makes sense. Use them whilst you can, and I mean, it's hard to say how long will he survive with such low HP. Speakeasy will get Shin, and that means probably not so long. Low HP players, all with plant denial utility, but they've got 5 Giants going against them here.
Quite literally 5 Giants from the region, not in terms of just name, but also in terms of stature. They are some pretty scary players at the best of times. Hysterics, we commented on being a little bit quiet this season so far, but then you're looking towards Speakeasy stepping up. Jordan with some incredible mid-round flourishes, and even Luna having to step away from the Monty and show that he can still gun with the best has been a big change for him this season that so far hasn't worked out too bad. We'll see what Chloroform can do here, still on full HP, playing out towards the main lobby entrance. Down goes number 2 to Hysterics. A 5 versus 2 does get the trade back onto Hysterics. 4 versus 2, flanking his way through office. I didn't even know that he's here. Gets one down, gets a second as well. What a flank coming out of Chloroform as Afro collects 2. How on earth did that call not come through? The Chloroform was coming in as soon as that first shot was fired. They did not have a clue, Jess.
I mean, a brilliant flank from the least likely player to hold a flank there, the Maestro.
Pretty noisy flanker, to be honest.
Let's be honest, but with chaos, smokes going off, shots being fired, absolutely okay that they didn't hear that coming along. It wasn't like he was shift Wing either. But I have to say, the biggest shock for me there was when we said that the smoke was low HP, and it's almost ironic, he died to the smoke hitting him. He didn't die to bullets. The smoke hit him and he went down into a DBNO state. I don't know if we can get a replay of that and in slow-mo, but that's why I gasped so loudly, because I thought to myself, no, surely he didn't go to a DBNO state from that smoke alone, which is ironic given he was a smoke operator there, but I digress. And we do go into the next round. 1 round apiece here, which is good for FAV because the more defensive rounds you can get on a highly attacking favored map, the better. But again, we've seen things like before. What do we have? Fnatic almost coming back. And here
it is.
Boom. Kobe.
That is so good. So good.
Oh, imagine getting a DB. Imagine you got the kill with that. Look, you actually have to toss 2, I think, in the DBNO state to get it. But still, that would have been a bit of a funny one. But yeah, as I was saying, FAV, get as many of those defensive rounds as you can. Put you in better stead moving into the attack, where you're more likely to win rounds. But it can go anyway, really.
I think what I love the most now is you're almost starting to make a name for yourself with these gasps. Everyone's like, Jess gasped. What happened? There's no interjection from you like, oh, the smoke's down or something like that. It's just...
I don't want to interrupt your play-by-play. I just want to let you keep doing it, you know?
But I also want to express myself that I'm having excitement at the same time. Yeah, absolutely fine by me. By all means, if you want to interject, you can do it. You can laugh. I'm fine with it either way. As long as you're not laughing at me, Jess, because then I'll feel very sad.
I do that on the inside.
Yeah, I know. Everyone seems to. No one ever tells me it to my face. Shin delivering a message straight to Speakeasy in luggage and saying, "You dare challenge me? What a brave idea you have there." He is on this leash and so holding upstairs with these goo mines. Going to do him a world of good. You can see a couple here at the top of White Stairs, and he's going to peace out over that balcony, get himself downstairs. Are we going to see more aggression from FAV here, looking towards the outside? Do they know? Do they know Pepe Lauf? They don't know Pepe Lauf. He's going to peek around the corner, surely. There he is, goes for the shots, but can't quite get the kill. Man, that was really anticlimactic.
What a shame. I thought he might run out as he was repelling, but he did manage to go all the way down when he heard the footsteps go down White. So good read of the situation there. He has the better weapon, especially at range as well. So he would have won that gunfight if he had hit his shots and seen through the bushes. But now it looks like Sunrise is the area that Afro at least wants to keep in his hands. It's a power position on multiple sites. And, good night, Chloroform says, take a sleep in bedroom. And that's exactly what Sarah does. And, oh, God, he can do everything. He can assist his teammate over in Sunrise and throw C4s up and collect Giants players as well.
I love what we're seeing from FAV here. They had a player in Sunrise, one out towards main lobby, one playing upstairs inside a theatre. You've got site players. The only thing they're missing is an office player to have full coverage of all four corners and both floors of the map. They are playing so aggressively, and it's not even trying to play for trades. They are just playing by themselves, playing very independently, and looking to catch out these members of Giants as they don't do the drone work. They haven't done the preparation properly there to make sure they know what it is they're pushing into, and losing all of these gunfights as they lose the fourth of the round without anything in response. Jordan by himself above the sides. I'm pretty sure he knows exactly which way these next 30 seconds are going to go. So it gives me and you a bit of time, Jess, to take a breather, have a sip of our tea, and look at the sort of damage that FAV are doing in this round. The first couple, I think, have been not so much shaky, but have definitely been a bigger challenge from Giants. And Jordan goes, round 3 is going to be a challenge as well, Des, as he finds a second kill with number 2 headshot coming in for the round. Sadly, Afro at the back of Cool Vibes, though, more than happy to sprint down and collect the closing kill in that round. Good start from FAV with 2 defensive rounds on the board. And we all mentioned, 33% win rate for defenders on this map. They have now hit that mark. They get another, they are at least at 50%. And this would be a great first half for them.
It's interesting to see FAV, especially on their defensive half, be around above Giants here, because I think after Giants beat C9 the other day, we sort of said to ourselves, okay, Giants is really hitting it now. We're getting into stage 2. We saw them in stage 1. They were absolute giants, for lack of better words, of course. We intend that. We know that they're some of the biggest gunners here in APAC North. Everyone said before stage 1 even began that they would be some of the biggest opponents they'd be going against. And they're absolutely right. A lot of people didn't talk about C9, which is a shame because they've absolutely blown up, especially since the mini-major. And now I'm asking myself, since the win the other day, are Giants cementing themselves as able to come back from such a crushing blow that C9 dealt them during the mini-major, that they can just reaffirm themselves at the top? Or is it just because it's the regular season best of 1 vibes that are really hitting them at the moment?
Quite possibly, and I think also worth considering that the teams around them are starting to level up. And let's not forget, again, we are in a slightly different meta here, where Giants would bully people with the Monty more often than not. And I'm not at all saying that was a crutch for them. They had to use it. There's a reason why Hysterics had the best KD in the whole division, why he was an absolute monster in stage 1. I just think now they've got to change a little bit. They have to adapt ever so slightly. And it's taken a bit of time for that to settle in place. We're seeing it happen in a number of places. Look across back over to EU and look at how Rogue are doing right now. There are adaptations going on because of the meta, because of the changes to a lot of teams. And I think here, given how we've seen even FAV change without any roster changes, look at number 2 this season. Absolutely huge player for them. One of the best, I think. In fact, FAV, as a note, have got 3 players in the top 5 for ratings. Wow. They are one of the best team, hands down, in this competition right now. And it's a reason why you're seeing them picking up results against teams that everyone's going, oh, they don't deserve that. And arguably why they're also surprising Giants here today.
Afro below and Jordan missed drones, which means a free kill for Afro. I think from the very beginning of round 1, I said Giants pushing 1 by 1 is not the play. Don't repeat Fnatic's mistakes today, which is what got them their loss. And Giants could face a loss today if they do the wrong thing. Yellow ping comes out, and aptly so. Typhon will lose his life, and that's a better pinch there. That's what I wanted Giants to show round 1. That time there, someone else was droning. They got the yellow ping off. Someone pre-fired the wall through theater, and of course, someone was waiting for the rotate on the white window. It's about having that better map knowledge and that better map positioning, and Giants will be able to cap these roamers off, which they're starting to do now.
They've been trying to do it since round number 1, and admittedly a couple of times they have been caught with their pants down by the side of FAV, where they have found themselves a couple of kills, admittedly not always the opening, and where they have managed to eventually close down these FAV members. It's still been 80, 90 seconds into the round, a lot of time has gone, and the actual execute onto site then starts to really weigh down on them. But like you say, I agree with you, they're aware now of how this game is playing out. They're aware that FAV are trying to control every single corner of the map and always trying to contest them. And that's why drone work is going to be so important for them. Great shot coming out of Speakeasy, coming in through luggage to collect Shin inside of Aqua. Barely had time to even see him, let alone respond to the shots coming his way with that instant first shot headshot. Feels the number stacking up on the side of Giants right here. They should have the opportunity to go for the close. But in a 4 versus 3, you really can't count out these players like Afro and number 2 who have been huge for them this season.
Well, number 2 is below, and the only thing that will assist him in being able to deny the plant is those vertical holes that they've made over these key default plant spots. Afro wants to clap to make sure that that 90 hallway is clear, make sure no one's pushing. Aptly finds a drone, which would have been feeding a lot of intel, and here comes the execute. Good EE1D timing. They'll run in. Surely they plant on the table because they know someone's below. Yes, they do. In fact, they decide to swarm the site. Good decision here. Now they'll capitalize on the last player, number 2, rotating up Sunrise stairs. Can he get a kill? Not at all. It's Speakeasy there to collect, and that was a really good round there from Giants. We spoke about how they needed to pinch better, they needed to capitalize on these roamers earlier, and they did it really well. And I think that round just shows the first few rounds were just a little bit of a warm-up, maybe.
A bit of a warm-up or maybe a site preference, Jess, because they've now won twice on Billiards and Hookah. That's where they've had their victories so far. On these next 2 sites we'll head to, Blue Bar Sunrise and Kitchen Service, no doubt, in the next round, is where we've seen FAV have most of their success. Now, I don't want to pin it too tightly to the actual site itself, because to be honest with you, the sites, they become relevant in the final 30 seconds of these rounds, given the aggressive roam play we're seeing coming out of FAV. But I do agree with you. Giants are getting better at controlling those members in the middle of the rounds, or at least early in the rounds when they're trying to give them something to think about. I wonder if we're going to see the same here, given Typon and Shin are sitting on the Mozzie and the Jaeger. They are the 2 operators, or the 2 players that we've seen flex between a number of roaming operators, changing between the Vigil, between the Mozzie in this case as well. We've had the Legion earlier on too. They are changing in and out to keep the other side guessing, I think, but it is always those 2 players that are out trying to cause trouble.
Back yet again to Blue Bar and Sunrise. An area of the map that they've been able to hold, especially with this extended hold, but just been taken advantage of, especially with that top floor. I mean, you can do your best to try and hold it, but Giants really, I guess, pinched the top floor with a lot of pressure. We saw that really big VIP control coming out, a lot of wall bangs, you know, thanks to those really well-placed drones that they had all across the map. It's really hard, especially when you're in the Malusi upstairs by yourself. They don't have it this time, but last time they did, to be able to just sort of run around and do everything on your own. This time what they've got is they've got Shin on the Mozzie. I don't know if he's being helped by Typon above, or whether he's just going to play this solo and maybe drop the hatch if he gets pressured too much. But they need to be careful. Giants have read into them. They know exactly how to push now. Can Typon live this time? Can he make impact, or will he get crushed again?
Clearly the man wants to claim Penthouse for himself. He likes the guitars, he likes the fancy theatre area. He's like, guys, this is my home. I want to stay here. Please don't force me out. But at this rate, Giants are the debt collectors, and they are here to collect Typon's life. That feels like the 3rd or 4th time in a row now they've struck him down inside the first 60 to 90 seconds or so. This guy really can't catch a break.
I think he kind of brings it on himself a little bit as well, Des. If you're going to go roam by yourself, if you're going to be predictable...
You're like a mother where a kid's been outside playing in the street and has fell and hurt their knee and like, Mummy, it's bleeding. And you're going, well, you brought this on yourself.
You did. You ran too fast. You didn't tie your shoelaces, whatever it might be. And I think the downfall there for Typon was he was predictable again. In the same position yet again. He knew the entry points of Giants. He met them there by himself. And when you're going up against multiple players in really predictable positions, it's very hard to hold. I think we'll see Shin probably play this a lot smarter than we'd seen Typon. You can be aggressive on this map, but you can't be carelessly aggressive.
Well, he's trying to be careful, but I think also being a little bit keen. A little bit trigger happy, wanting to swing out onto those open hatches and windows and just hope that someone is peeking at the wrong time with no idea as to where he is. Either way, it's the opening advantage to Giants once again. Had pretty good success on these entries. Rounds 1, 2, 4, and 5 have all gone their way. Afro, a good C4 from downstairs on the mirror, is going to collect onto Jordan. Last time, him and number 2 were the ones being pressured out and put down to very low health, if you remember, quite early in the round. Here, they're on full health, they're still swinging, and even picking up kills for their team.
I wonder how they knew he was in that exact spot as well, because I can understand if number 2 says, yeah, they're pushing me in hookah and they just C4 near the hatch. I get that, but that exact spot where you're standing and droning, is there a Mozzie drone? Is there some kind of intel? I don't know, but brilliant C4, but it does get a trade back by Ysera, so they do manage to try and even the main count. In fact, they've got a man advantage, but the time is dwindling and number 2 is on the move.
They've managed to go around each other. I was going to say, he doesn't know that number 2's upstairs. He's going to find it for free. This was their vertical control because everyone else is downstairs looking to make a push happen. And now he's in his spot to get another kill. Oh my God, Luna walks away on 25 HP. Hysterics is going to clean up something beautiful. Number 2 all by himself. 15 seconds to go, and he has got to do something to try and save this round. Must know where these players are. One in the hallway, a couple inside of Sunrise itself. And do they know he's laid down? Did they hear that move come through? They've gone to go for the spray. Here we go. He walks around and gets it down into Hysterics, the big fragger in this round, but he's got a lot of work to do with an SMG. Not the best at long range unless you get the instant headshot. Gonna try and go for the smoke, but there's 2 playing outside the windows. Well, 1 outside the window, 1 playing outside of the pool entrance doorway. Gonna go for a jump out here, I think, or something. Some way of trying to catch them out. And here he goes for the 1, but Luna wins those shots. Number 2 goes down, and for a second, I thought it was going to go the way of Fav, but once Hysteric steps up and gets those 2 or 3 kills in the mid-round, it's good night to Fav.
I actually didn't spot there, as I was so worried about watching number 2 and his movements there after he did pick up the buck, who came and collected the diffuser off of the buck. Because the buck had the diffuser upstairs. Once he got the down on him, he could actually see the diffuser drop. So why he thought he had to then go challenge the other players who weren't next to the diffuser was a little bit confusing. Maybe he misread the situation, didn't see the diffuser drop under the buck and went, okay, let me go challenge everyone else. He probably could have just literally camped on the diffuser, chucked a smoke on it, and played time. That's an interesting one.
Attackers need to locate and defuse as many bombs as they can.
Small things, small moments. As we always seem to say every single game, there is always a small thing that happens in a round that isn't someone charging forward and getting 4 kills or, I don't know, surviving forever. It's always the small things like when a drone gets killed, where it's positioned, who looks the wrong way at the wrong time, who looks the wrong way in this case, and lets the diffuser escape from under your clutch is also a wonderful example.
Yeah.
But here we go, last round of the half. We are currently on course to end at the perfect scoreline to keep up with the stats from the rest of last season. I mentioned earlier on a 32% win rate to the defenders. FAV have got those 2 rounds. Giants are currently sat at a point where they're looking like they're going to get 4, given how well they have been playing so far on the attack. What I'm very keen to see is what happens when we switch over, because as we always say, let's not judge too fast, or wait and see how the first couple of rounds of the attacking half of FAV go before we draw any solid conclusions. Needless to say, in this first half, FAV have caught Giants a couple of times, but Giants are still looking solid.
If you look at the scores, or rather the kills of each of the Giants players, you can see they're all putting in work in some way, shape or form. But if you look over towards FAV, you can see there's a couple of those big key players, Afro being one, number 2 being one, and the rest of the team sort of, you know, pulling back, not being able to have the impact that I'm sure they really want to have here. Again, the line will persist, and this time I think it's whether or not they're trying to clear these roamers faster. Was that the decision to bring in the Lion? Very possibly so. We see Fnatic use it a lot, and it works very well, especially on coastline.
I do like how they're mixing things up, and for the second time today, I'm now going to say we're seeing Buck over a sledge. And this is the map that I thought we would see this kind of change coming through. I mentioned the vertical capability that he brings above as well as below, whereas a sledge on some maps like Cafe, you're not really swinging upwards. You're always swinging downwards unless you're attacking top floor and trying to look to attack from the second floor through, say, reading. That isn't really normally the case, but it feels here in APAC, at least today, we are seeing a hell of a lot of Buck being brought out.
Skeleton Key can do absolute wonders. It also means you can shoot long range as well, so you might not give yourself up to a C4 from below, which is very common on coastline. There we go. That's exactly what I'm talking about. They needed to get rid of that bulletproof camera, was it? Yes, I believe Shin had placed a bulletproof camera next to penthouse double window. And by being able to get rid of it, they did barely evade that 1C4, and now they've only got 1C4 left. No other plant denial outside of Type 1 on the smokes. And once they start opening up above, you pretty much have to vacate site or sit in service entrance where the next aggression will happen.
Number 2 here being sneaky. isn't even going to bother shooting the Selma off the wall. Just goes, look, just let it go, just let it go. They have no idea I'm here. Where are the drones? When are they going to come in? There are still 5 or 6 left alive on the side of Giants. He's now going to rotate away. Chose to ignore that Selma entirely. So I think he was hoping someone was going to follow through with the Selma going off. But the answer, absolutely, was that no one was going to. Easy picking up Shin to start things off, only at the 50-second mark as well. So it's been a late start to this round for the side of Giants, and they've got a lot of work to do if they want to keep this one going.
They'll be able to get some really key lines of sight from above. Coastline, especially kitchen, most of it can be ripped apart from above. So it's a hard site to hold if you don't have top floor control.
C4 again.
There we go. Almost takes Ysera's life, but that's the last one. Now type on smokes. Can he get them over to service entrance? That's where the plant will go down. They're being pinched from kitchen door as well, but kitchen window is closed. This could be the saving grace here for FAV.
Could be, but time is of the essence, children. Time to speed things up. Let's go, let's go. There we go. Jordan swinging in. 1, 2. It's like a left, right. Where's the haymaker to finish things off? You have to ask. Is there a third to be collected with the diffuser going down? The answer at the minute is there is no need. Chloroform! You beast!
What is that?
They didn't know. They didn't know where he was. And he shot someone a single tap to the head.
Chloroform.
God
Oh my
damn.
goodness. A shout out to that man. The trigger discipline on him to go, all I need to do is count, and as long as he doesn't get to 7 and the time is done, I win this. Somebody clip that. That's going in some highlights.
That must have come from Jordan pushing from hallway into kitchen. Chloroform instantly appears inside of lobby and sees that plant going down. Just one taps him in the head.
So he was in a bathroom stall
These are the
whole
timings
time.
that we speak. No, sure. Was he there
Yes.
as well, along with the Valkyrie? Because the Valkyrie rotated out.
So the mirror was in there the whole time because after he had aced the mirror, he moved back into the stall, which was actually dangerous considering the drone hole. Waited. He waited for his teammate type on smoke babes to rain out. Unfortunately, what happened is that the ace had to push through them and go plant behind the table. As a result of doing that, Chloroform's just sitting there going, no, wait. They have no idea I'm here. They have no idea I'm here. Just gets to sit there the whole time.
Imagine if you just watched him, walked in front of you, and start putting the plant down.
Trigger discipline.
And like you said, you just sit there and go, they don't know I'm here.
Yep.
I can wait until the dying second.
There it is.
And then click on the head.
He was there the whole time.
Did he drop? Oh, that's so...
Wow.
Man. That is naughty, because that's where the Valkyrie was literally 30 seconds prior.
Really, wow.
Do you remember? Because he ran out, he fled and ran back up towards the top side of service, and I thought, okay, then now bathroom's gone, that's it. The worst thing is, right? The Selma came from the attackers to open that wall that let him land that shot. That's the worst part. Oh, man. What a round. That's one to watch back, 100%.
Whew, all right. Well, as we collect ourselves from that amazing finish to that round, if FAV end up taking Coastline, I think they can turn around and give a high five to Chloroform to say that round we shouldn't have won, you know, back in the first half. Yeah, that's on you, brother.
Man.
Whew,
I still can't believe it.
I'm in shock.
The rounds like this, I honestly love this game. These are the reasons why I love Siege. Things like that are so entertaining to, entertaining to see. Someone one-tapping someone's always great, but two, to understand how that kind of situation came about and all the small things that lead to it, equally what makes this game beautiful at the best of times. Absolutely love it. Anyway, enough of hyping over Chloroform. We can continue doing Survey Pops Off again, but now let's talk about Giants on the defense and FAV on the attack. I mentioned earlier on they were one of the best attacking teams last season. There's a lot of high expectation for them here on Coastline, so I hope the Giants have got something up their sleeve here to keep them at bay.
Well, it's Chloroform's job to make sure that no one rotates out of bathroom as they apply that upstairs pressure. Here we go. He'll catch someone as I speak it into existence. I'm so sorry, Jordan. I'll apologize to you later, buddy. No problem. But, geez, that is such a good early pick, especially when you're thinking about the fact that Jordan might have had a C4. I didn't check before he died. And Speakeasy, well, he'll get number 2. Hello? Is anyone aware of this man all the way up in VIP? They're just feeding him.
Well, if they want to walk into the Alder, it's more than happy to keep on taking... Nah.
No way.
Does he find Afro with that. That is how you swing around. After losing their opening death as well, Jordan, of course, was the first to die. To collect 2 kills and then a third is one hell of a way to make sure this first round starts off strong in this half.
Imagine losing a round so intimately. We're going to call that intimately, and then you have to clap back like this. Now it's all up to Chloroform in a 1v3. Can he do it? He's already collected one. He collected one previous on the rotate out, a little bit of a whiff, left, right. And it means Luna will walk away, and I mean, my goodness. I think Giants are fired up now. You lose a round like that, and you say to your teammates, boys, what just happened? There's no way we lose a 4v1, was it? It was at least a 3v1. I think 4v1, as we saw Jordan panicking, running around kitchen in that previous round. And now they're saying our attack on an attacking sided map is not squaring up to what Giants are throwing back at us. Is this the first time we see a defensive sided coastline? Outside of Xavier.
Tight. I'm in.
I
normally see a mirror if you go into something like this, but okay. Now, there is a team in Europe who, back at the start of Stage 1, we got very excited about defending this site. That team is called Tempera. They opened up the majority of the walls. They played inside of VIP. They had a good number of members inside of Theatre 2. And basically said, if you step inside a penthouse, you are stepping into a death trap. Do not enter. It was a very creative setup where, again, nearly everything was opened up. I'm keen to see what Giants have got in store here. And I even said a couple of rounds back, I think coming into this map here, now you're going onto the defensive side, you've got to have something smart up your sleeve if you're going to be able to upset FAV, one of the greatest attacking teams in the competition. This could be that upset.
10 seconds left.
Good little replay there to show exactly how the top floor was Speakeasy's domain, even to the point where they ran into service entrance and also gifted him another free kill. That wallbang was really the precipice of that top floor hold, though. That was really good read from him to know that he was being pushed again. Whether that came from intel or not, we're not sure, but shows how he was quite confident to be able to hold that on his lonesome. And now, well, Giants are around up ahead here of FAV. And I think the biggest thing about that now is that they had such a confident defensive round. The momentum shifts and is on Giants' side now. Can they use it to propel themselves forward? Can they use that disappointment from the round previous to go, oh goodness, we can really just bring it back here, boys. We don't need to have another one of those moments, and just clap back at FAV now. Oh, and Ayub.
Good night.
Yeah. Sometimes I feel like we cast to curse things a little bit too much.
Just a little bit. Sometimes, not all the time. Just sometimes. Just put that little denim on the end of it there. Either way, opening kill onto Hysterics. The C4 being gone is probably the biggest deal there. I spoke around the denial. It's a death trap if you step inside a penthouse. No one ever really plays inside the room because it's not a good place to be for attackers or for defenders. But with that C4 being removed from Hysterics, they don't have that option to play that from below, and that is slightly concerning, given I think that's where a lot of the lean in this round went for them. They now have one left. It's on Speakeasy on the Malusi. And given they now don't have presence downstairs with two roamers, I worry they won't even get the chance to use it at all. They'll have to play for this horizontal denial instead.
That Banshee will be displaced off the top of White stairs there, which will give them at least unimpeded access to the top of White and through luggage door. But I think Speakeasy wants to challenge it. He's been droned a couple of times now, and another drone is even making its way over. So if they do manage to get the kill on a Speakeasy, well, this round becomes exponentially easier. Is that a half soft wall? Surely not. I believe the ace is the one that will have to open that up, and he does. And with a minute left here, this good timing here for FAV. Having those theatre walls open, which you don't always see opened up. Sometimes you'll see penthouse instead. But they're deciding to do a southern push. A little unusual, can be hard to hold if you don't have 90 control. They can make it work, but it's going to be under a lot of pressure.
I wish I could sit here and say I've never seen a theatre take, but to be honest with you, I've barely ever seen Penthouse and Theatre, so I really can't comment on what the go-to setup is. But playing around that window, often a big piece of it, and then holding angles from VIP. Every time I've seen this site, which is probably only 3 or 4, that has been the go-to focus. And that south take, like you say, is a little bit different. But the rotates come through here with Fav now putting some focus on the north side. 2 kills swinging the way for Giants out of almost nowhere. This should put a massive stop, or at least drain the momentum from Vav. And they're going to have to pause and rethink themselves here. What needs to change? How do we improve it? Typon steps in but gets traded out straight after. It's all down to Chloroform by himself, and he's on the rappel. He's going to try and swing in. It's an easy come out. Oh my god, he almost got away with it. But Luna, second time I've seen him do it this game, comes in with the closing kill for a trade to ensure that Giants get the round. That is 2 in a row on defense, and this is not looking good for FAV given the history of Coastline here in APAC.
I think I can probably confidently say it's looking good for Giants now. You get a couple of those defensive rounds in a row and you say to yourself, yeah, we're actually hitting this when we need to hit it. It did come down to a 2v1, and I actually argue the third play that went down probably just had a little bit of a misstep, a little bit of a miscommunication there as well, so that's why they did manage to go down. But overall, looking like a nice fight between two of these teams here in APAC North. I think a lot of people don't know that a lot of these players in APAC North have some really strong mechanical skills, but also we've seen a lot of game sense mixed into it. And a lot of people watch an NAL and go, oh my God, look at the way the bolo peaks are, look at the way that Merc can gun out. And I love that, and I love that we can see them on the big stage, and I'm loving that we're giving APAC North a big stage because there are gunners galore here. There are a lot of them with strong mechanical skill. The world doesn't often get to see them. I get it. We bring you this, you know, at odd hours in your region, for example, or NA region. It's a good time for me at the moment. It's only 11:30 p.m. But people are missing out on what APAC North has to show, and here's a really good representation of some of those plays, of some of those players.
I mean, the fact that Virtue got picked up straight from Fnatic into G2, I think is a wonderful example of that. The recognition and respect that some of the players here do get. And look, I know that watching this region sometimes, there are teams that they do rely on this aggressive, fast-paced style that revolves around fragging. You could say that last time used to be the same for a time, and to some extent still is in some of the non-top teams. But there is definitely teams that can play to that layer of skill, of strategy, of thought to the game that some teams do lack, admittedly, yes. But it's all about the growth of the region. This is the first time, let's not forget, between stage 1 and stage 2 that we have seen as a region, APAC collectively come together where teams from different countries play each other. Before that, it was mostly unified country-based pro leagues. This is a much better format now, and it will take time for the region to grow, but we're already seeing massive improvements from some teams, and you're seeing two of the best of them on screen right here in front of you now.
Speaking of some of the best, Speakeasy. He's a monster on multiple operators, and he's hoping he can be a monster here on the Vigil. I'm wondering whether or not it's because the mute is banned. They're going to have trouble being able to stop these drones, so why not just bring a Vigil and become your own mute jammer, rather? So I think that's quite good. Did Jordan get down from a sniper shot there? Missed that one, not sure, but he does go into a DB&O state, and hopefully he gets picked up soon because that's your smoke player. And in a site, yeah, there we go. And in a site like Blue Bar, the smoke is really important, especially if they play in that key position. EE1D will ring out, and FAV also favoring the Lion as Giants favored in their attacking half. And the first kill will go to Speakeasy.
Form as well. It is the ace down, not the end of the world for this site, you'd wager, as there aren't too many walls to get open. Sooner lose that than something like the line that can be really useful when it comes around to execution time. But also thinking about the vertical control here, looks like by the sounds of it, I say on the sounds of it, by the looks of it, I should have said, Speakeasy knew or didn't know that Shin was there, but apparently he did. Strikes back and gets that second kill, and it looks like Giants' flawless streak on the defense is going to continue if this round carries on the way that it has so far. FAV are still trying to get themselves into position to go for the execute here. I don't think he knows that there are a couple through in this room to his left, but can't quite see them. And like that, it's all completely shut down. Taipun's all alone with 25 HP and a dream.
Speakeasy.
What was that pre-pop? Speakeasy. Buddy, we need to talk. Don't look.
Oh no. And you know what the funniest part about it is? The K1A has little to no recoil, so there's no excuse there that he could say that he was trying to control the recoil, but that's okay. You know, I can't criticize. I'm sure he hits way better shots than I could ever dream of in my wildest dreams, so can't really criticize too much, but he does end up getting the kill. And I think the biggest thing we could point away here, 3 rounds up, match point. FAV need the next 3 rounds in a row to bring it to overtime. Then they have to win those 2 rounds to at least confirm the win. I think my prediction's right on this one. I think Giants walk away with the win. But let's not forget, the FAV we're seeing here is a FAV that we didn't see in stage 1. I'm sure you agree. You've said they're on an upward trajectory. I agree. I think we're seeing a really strong FAV in this particular stage, and I'm excited that they've improved exponentially.
I agree, but there are a few things still to be worked on, no doubt. I mean, as evidenced in this game, some of the rounds work out really well for them, some a little less so. And I have zero problem with leaning into your playstyle of being this aggressive team that likes to get out in the map and cause trouble. But here on the attack so far, it's lacking that togetherness that I think we've seen at points from these boys in the past. Maybe because the first half suggested, hey, it's Coastline, we play independently, we go off there, we try and catch people on their entries into the map. That's just our playstyle. I just worry that coming across here into the attacking side, that's bled a little bit here, where really, when you're coming up against roamers, against members of the team on the side of Giants who are maybe playing a bit more independently behind information, those are the times you need to be grouping together. Need to see more of that, more coordinated pushes, I think will really help.
This time they'll go to kitchen, and if you could have a really good top floor roam, as we saw before, who was it? Was it Speakeasy on the Maestro? I believe it was. He was holding top floor all on his lonesome. I think he'll want to try and repeat it this time. What FAV need, and well, of course, it's match point. They have no choice. What FAV have to do is they either clear him from above, holding all of these vertical lines of sight, and they do so as a group because they got absolutely decimated last time by the Elder, or they ignore it and they play it somewhere that can't be seen by a vertical. I can't really name a spot that can't really be shot by a vertical. Maybe no, and even there you can open a vertical in VIP. There's probably no place except for that reinforcement right there on the bathroom wall. That's the only place they could plant safely, and that's a small margin of error.
And speaking of margin error in this round, there is none to be had for FAV. It's got to be near perfect. It hasn't got to be perfect, but good enough that you win. Absolutely. Otherwise, it's done. You find yourself as the loss, and Giants will not so much resume, but we'll find ourselves recreating the streak we saw from them last stage. They had an incredible stage last time around. Their only loss coming against Xavier, who, as we mentioned, we saw really great things from last stage, but haven't really replicated it to the same level so far this stage. Maybe that will return, though, in stage 2. Another stage 2 wonder. I'm all down for from those boys. Jordan steps up and finds the kill onto Afro. That entry with the Ash. I like how Shin's moved over to playing on the Iana here as well to give them some more information to help make these entries a little more comfortable. But it hasn't really helped them there to keep one alive.
It's a little bit strange too, because you'd see the Yana going through office, blue bar, etc. What area of the map are they trying to take? Because it just seems like all of the attackers are droning separate sections. EE1D will go off. Who are they trying to section off here? Is it the player in luggage? Because they're being unsuccessful by just holding the roof. Hysterics knows how to dip, dodge, dive, and dodge, or whatever it is, away from it.
It is, yeah. He goes,
is it?
Dive, dodge, and dodge. She says dodge
That's
twice.
right.
Yeah.
Perfect. Speaking of, Speakeasy goes down to Shin. Okay, Yana comes into play here. This could be the perfect bounce grenade up onto Hysterics. He hears it, and the Jaeger Spidey senses tingling there, gets him away. And where was that player on the roof? He gets away for free again.
It's so free, dude. It's so free. Now not for Shin. It's a free death for him. Hysterics picking up another 4 versus 3. Number 2 swings in and finds one. There we go. If you look a bit closer, there's still one more there as well, but he didn't see him in that brief second, and now he's going to strike back. Luna gets away with a few pixels to help him out there. Gets a second on the ground with a deagle. Drops down. This looks like it's going to be a Giants fixture for them to close it out. Chloroform with one more from the outside, but he's got to contest vertically and horizontally. Sadly, you can't shoot in two different directions at the same time, while Giants can. They close the game out 7-3. And after a good first half from FAV, Giants defense on Coastline.
Wow.
Pretty good, man.
Interesting to see a defensive-sided Coastline for the first time. Outside of what we saw Xavier do, of course, to both of these teams previous. A good win here for Giants. Was a little shaky in the first half, I'm not going to lie, but Speakeasy, Luna popping off. Good to see Chloroform had a good game as well. You were speaking about number 2, but I think Chloroform really stepped up for his team. They won't walk away with the win, but they'll walk away getting my praise as being a lot more reformed than I'd seen them in stage 1.
And that is worth far more than a win. Any team that has ever been criticised by Jess will very gladly tell you that. I do want to give a lean towards Luna again. I mentioned him at the start. I mentioned him back on Tuesday. A player that, when I spoke to Gig, Gig was turning around and saying, look, he's stepping away from the Monty. He wants to show that he can still stand up with the best. And today, I think he has proved that. Really glad to see him playing so well. And a fantastic win for Giants. Let's go back over to the desk and see what they think about this fixture.
Thank you so much, guys. Yes, back on the analyst desk. It did. Fluke